Hey everyone, how are you all doing? Hope you had a good day, night, or evening. It's good to see you all again. Today we'll be taking a look at Phil Spencer's interview with XCast. Hopefully this is the final Xbox video I do before we turn to more traditional content of taking the piss out of other people. I mean, I'm kinda taking the piss out of Phil, but with that being said, we're only going to be taking a look at a couple parts of this interview, as there's not much need to cover the entire thing, as it's just pretty much him admitting defeat. So with that all being said, let's get started.
More difficult for me than disappointing the Xbox community. I've been a part of it for a long time. I obviously work on Xbox, head of the business, have a lot of friends, get a lot of feedback. And just to kind of watch the community lose confidence, be disappointed. I'm disappointed. I'm upset with myself. I kind of revisit our process. I think back to the announcement of 60 frames per second, and then we weren't shipping 60 frames per second. That was kind of our punch in the chin, rightfully, a couple weeks ago. And then seeing the game come out and the critical response was not what we wanted.
Then why did you announce that it was not going to be at 60, or why did you announce even at the start that it was going to be at 60 on console, more than likely on launch, when you know full well it was not going to be? Because now you've opened yourself up to either legal action, and just a lot more problems because of the way you word stuff. You say on launch it's going to be 60, and then later tell us it's going to be 30. You make the problem bigger by doing that, instead of telling people straight to their face, hey, it's going to be at 30 on launch. It's as simple as that, yeah. Like I said, people are still going to be pissed off, but it's much better than leading people on. And like you said a little bit earlier, right, in the little clip that I showed, is that the community is losing faith in you, or has already lost faith. It wasn't just because of Redfall, it's because every game that you've released in the last couple of years has been at the similar quality to Redfall. And if you continue to release it at that quality, what's the point in buying those games if it's never going to improve? Or if we're going to have to wait months for that stuff to be fixed?
And we didn't do a good job early on in engaging with Arcane Austin to really help them understand what it meant to be part of Xbox and part of first party, and use some of our internal resources to help them and kind of move along that journey even faster. So we kind of left them to go work on the game. They're a very talented team. I love that team, and I still do, and I will totally bet on them to do another great game.
So why did you buy them then? Why did you go out of your way to acquire them for Game Pass if you're not going to offer them the resources that they can use with being a part of Microsoft? You should be sitting there and showing those people, supporting them with extra manpower and many other things to help them finish their game. It is as simple as that, because if you're not doing that, it will become mismanaged very quick and overwhelming for the team that's already on the game. And especially for someone that comes from the budget of Microsoft, you have a lot of fucking money and manpower to fuck with. And not doing anything to remedy or fix the situation in general is kind of fucking rough. I don't know why you're doing it then, or why you even bought them. Because at the end of the day, they should be a part of Xbox. They should have access to all the stuff that they need to finish their games.
But we'll definitely continue to focus on making our console experience as great as it can be. I like the homepage refresh and some stuff. I will say, this might be disruptive as well. We have a different vision. Paris talked about this. It's play the games you want with the people you want anywhere you want. We want Xbox to be something that people who buy our console can feel like they're a member of. Obviously, who are playing on PC, who are playing on cloud, that they feel like they're full members of our ecosystem. Game Pass players can play on many different devices, and we remain fully committed to that. We're not in the business of out-consoling Sony or out-consoling Nintendo. There isn't really a great solution or win for us. And I know that will upset a ton of people, but it's just...
But why are you in the business then? If you're not willing to compete in that business and not able to keep up with them, you're going to fall behind. And if you continue to fall behind, what is the point in buying your console? Yes, you have many other platforms you can play on now, and which that is absolutely good. I think it's an absolute great idea that you did that with Game Pass. It is an absolute fucking W. But now you've left a core part of your audience behind on the Xbox, because now I feel left behind, even though now I play on PC.
Just the truth of the matter is that when you're third place in the console marketplace and the top two players are as strong as they are and have, in certain cases, very discrete focus on doing deals and other things that will that kind of make being Xbox hard for us as a team. That's on us, not on anybody else. Our vision is that everybody who's on console has to feel like they have a great experience and they're a first-class citizen. They've invested a ton in our platform. But we are not in a position, and I see it out there. I see commentary that if you just build great games, everything would turn around. It's just not true that if we go off and build great games, all of a sudden you're going to see console share shift in some dramatic way. We lost the worst generation to lose in the Xbox One generation, where everybody built their digital library of games. So when you go and you're building on Xbox, we want our Xbox community to feel awesome. But this idea that if we just focused more on great games on our console, that somehow we're going to win the console race, I think doesn't really lay into the reality of most people. Like 90% of the people every year who walk into a retailer to buy a console are already a member of one of the three ecosystems, and their digital library is there. This is the first generation where the big games that they're playing were games that were available last gen. When you think about Fortnite and Roblox and Minecraft, like the continuity from generation to generation is so strong. I see a lot of pundits out there that kind of want to go back to the time where we all had cartridges and discs and every new generation was a clean slate and you could switch the whole console share. That's just not the world that we are in today. There is no world where Starfield's an 11 out of 10 and people start selling their PS5s. That's not.
I also agree and somewhat disagree with Phil. You may not make these people sell their consoles, but you may make them convince themselves to buy another one. Because if you have a decent lineup, like PlayStation has, for every time that they've released games in the last couple of years, they have had a very strong lineup. And that has convinced me to want to buy a PlayStation, until I realize that they may just be coming to PC, so I'm willing to wait, but we don't talk about that. But if you have alternative to make people buy into those games, people will take that, and that is another person, either on a subscription service, on your console, or many other things, to make them more money, and increase the player base. It is as simple as that. You don't need to out-console Sony. You don't need to be bigger than Nintendo. You just need to prove that there is a value to your system. Once they have given you that money, you have won. That is now another player that you have in your bag, and if you can continue that for many more players, you don't need to be the biggest. As long as you're making a decent profit from a business standpoint, you have pretty much won. There's no lose in that situation as long as there's a sizable increase in how much money you're making every quarter. But I also agree with Phil that they did lose one of the most important generations for this, because now they've kind of fucked themselves over by not providing to their community. Because they did lose that generation pretty hard when it came to the end. At the beginning, I think they were on top, as much as it had shit marketing. Once Sony got the ball rolling, it really turned in their favor, and look at where they are now.
Not going to happen. So what we have to do, and we have this unique vision because we see what creators want to do. Creators want to build games that can meet players on any screen. People play with their friends regardless of what other screen they're on. And the console is the core of the Xbox brand. There's no doubt. So like we will stay focused on making sure that console experience is awesome. But I know some people want to hold us up of just being a better green version of what the blue guys do. And I'm just going to say, like, there's not a win for Xbox in staying in the wake of somebody else. We have to go off and do our own thing with Game Pass, with the stuff we do with xCloud, and the way we build our games.
I could not agree more with Phil. Game Pass was an absolutely good idea. The problem is, now after some time, it's lost its value. Once you've played all the stuff on there and there isn't a good rotation of new games going into it, it kinda loses that value after a couple months of play. And this goes hand in hand with how your developers make their games and how long it takes them. If your developers are pumping out, let's say, a game every couple of years, and you have a fuck ton of developers, and you're releasing constant quality games every year, you can incentivize to keep me buying into Game Pass. Since you have fallen flat on your ass with games, since, Redfall and just many of the games like Halo Infinite and all that have not been releasing to a good standard, it makes it really hard to continue wanting to support Game Pass as a whole. So, that's pretty much it. I think I covered everything I want to talk about. I hope I worded it all right. I think I may have butchered like 2 things. But even then, as long as you get where I'm coming from, and you understand what I mean, it's all that matters. So I hope you all have a good day. That's pretty much it. Take care.